Hello my dear students. Today in heredity and variation we will move on to the last part of the lesson, that is mitochondrial disorder. Okay, the disorders which are caused due to mutations in the DNA of the mitochondria. Okay, such disorders are called as mitochondrial disorders. Okay, so let's see now mitochondrial disorders. Mitochondrial DNA may also become defective due to mutation. As I mentioned to you before, mitochondria is also one of the cell organelle which consists of DNA. Okay, and it can also, this DNA can also undergo mutation under certain condition, and you know mutation means change in the genetic structure. Fine. Now this can happen when during fertilization. That means during after the reproduction there is, after the fusion of the gametes, there is a process called as fertilization. Okay, mitochondria are mostly contributed by the egg cells. Egg cells means the cells, gamete cells of the female, or the female gamete cells are called as egg cells. So mitochondria is only contributed by the mother, that means egg cell, and therefore if the mother is suffering from this mitochondrial disorder, then only it will be passed on to the offspring. Then offspring may be a baby boy or a baby girl. Okay, so remember this disorder is due to mitochondria. Mitochondria is contributed only by the female because of the egg cells. Okay, so hence mitochondrial disorders are inherited from the mother only. And an example of mitochondrial disorder is Leber hereditary optic neuropathy. Okay, is the example of mitochondrial disorder. Now what is this disorder? This is the disorder of the eye. Okay, here in this case the person loses his or her vision. Okay, and mostly during the person's teens, or maybe in the around 21, from the 21 years of age. So rarely it is seen when the person is in his childhood, or maybe in the adult stage. It occurs mostly during the teenager age. Okay, so this disease mostly causes loss of vision. So this disease is also called as Leber hereditary optic neuropathy. Okay, which is caused by mitochondria. Next we will move on to the next disorder, that is polygenic disorders. Diseases occurring due to mutations in the multiple genes. Last time we have learned about disorders occurring due to mutations in the single gene. So today we shall learn polygenic disorder. That means mutations which are caused due to multiple genes. Here in this case we are not studying into detail any of the disorder. Only there is a mention in the textbook, the name of the disorder. Fine. So that only you are going to learn, not in detail. Fine. So sometimes disorders arise due to mutations in more than one gene, and such disorders are called as polygenic. Poly means many. Okay, so if the mutation occurs in many genes, then it will be called as the polygenic disorder. In most cases, the severity of the disorder increases due to effects of the environmental factors on the fetus. So it is not only due to the genes, but sometimes even due to environmental factors. Okay, it may also affect the fetus which is growing in the womb of the mother. Okay, so severity means the disease severity will increase if the environmental factors are not good. Common examples of such disorders are cleft lip. I am going to show you the picture of the cleft lip. Then cleft palate. Fine. Constricted stomach. Spina bifida. Spina bifida is a defect of the spinal cord, etc. These are some of the examples of the polygenic disorders. Fine. There are some more disorders like diabetes is also a polygenic disorder. If we say that diabetic patients are mostly, it's a hereditary disease. Okay, that means it has been transferred from the parents to the offspring. So diabetes, blood pressure, if anyone from your family is suffering from diabetes, blood pressure, heart disorders, or asthma and obesity, okay, the next generation also have chances to get all these diseases. Okay, therefore these diseases are also called as polygenic disorders, and they are passed on from the parents to the offspring. Polygenic disorders may not follow strictly the Mendel's principles of heredity. You have learnt about the Mendel's principles of heredity. Okay, so here they may not be transferred according to the Mendel's principles of heredity. Fine. Now let's see the next one. These disorders arise from a complex interaction between environment and of course the lifestyle and defects in several genes. So it is not only because of the genes, defects in the gene, but environment also affects what type of environment you are living, whether the environment is a stressful condition or you are living in a polluted area, depends on that. Lifestyle, what is your lifestyle, whether you have habit of eating most of the times junk food, or whether your lifestyle is sedentary, that means sitting and doing work, no physical work is done. So all these factors also affect in these type of disorders, like for example diabetes and blood pressure, heart disorders. All these is not only because of the defects in the several gene, but even due to the lifestyle what we are having these days. Okay, and even the environment, like polluted environment, and also can cause these disorders. Fine. Now this is the example of the cleft lip. Cleft lip, you can see that it is there is a cut for the lip, or even sometimes for the palate. Okay, and therefore these type of disorders are called as cleft lip and cleft palate. Okay, this is one of the disorder, polygenic disorder. Then we have constricted stomach, wherein stomach is constricted from within, inside the body. Okay, and therefore the person may have problem in eating all the time. Okay, then next is spina bifida. Spina bifida is the defect of the backbone or the spinal cord, and wherein you can see that there is a bump coming out of the back, that is called as spina bifida. So severity in this case is not much, very less number of people getting suffered from this disease, that is spina bifida. Next we have other always remember, this is the last part of the lesson, what you need to take into consideration regarding lifestyle. Some we have adopted so many different types of lifestyle. Many people have the habit of eating tobacco or smoking, drinking. What can happen if we have the habits of chewing of tobacco or tobacco in any form, like smoking and all? Fine, then what can happen? Let us see now the interrelationship between the tobacco addiction and how tobacco addiction can cause cancer. Now what is cancer? Cancer is nothing but uncontrolled growth of cells. It is nothing but uncontrolled growth of cells. That means cancer is nothing but formation of some lump of the tissue, and that lump of the tissue is formed due to cell division, and that means uncontrolled in the sense there is no control in cell division, and therefore since the cell division increases, the lump also of the tissue increases. That you have to remember. Fine. Now let's see how tobacco addiction can cause different types of cancers. So you can see that some of the people have the habit of having tobacco, just taking in the hand gutka or pan masala, like that they take, okay, in the hand, and they have the habit of putting that in the mouth. Okay, fine. So many people consume tobacco either by smoking or by chewing. So this is an example of chewing tobacco. Then consumption of tobacco in any form can cause cancer. Smoking of cigarette or bidi adversely affects the process of digestion. Okay, whenever you have the habit of eating tobacco, it of course will affect the digestion process. Fine. So like smoking also, tobacco can be in the form of just eating, chewing it directly, or tobacco may be present in the cigarette or the bidi. Even through smoking also it may enter in your body. Fine. Next, then it can cause sore throat or the throat cancer. It can cause throat cancer, or causes of may cause the burning sensation in the throat and will lead into cough. Okay, so you can see what type of you can see so many different things are formed inside, like pus is there inside. So that sensation gives inflammatory sensation. Inflammatory sensation means burning inside. Okay, because of continuous chewing of the tobacco. Excessive smoking causes instability and trembling of the fingers. That means the person who is smoking all the time, his or her fingers will be shivering type. Okay, that is called as trembling of the fingers. Then a dry cough causes sleeplessness. Okay, because of the tobacco consumption, which can go inside due to smoking, and all the smoke goes inside the lungs, and because of that you get dry cough. And when you get dry cough continuously, you will not be able to sleep. Okay, so it causes sleeplessness. Fine. And tobacco consumption can also lead to shortening of the lifespan. Shortening of the lifespan means a person will be dying soon. Okay, chronic bronchitis. Now I'll tell you what is chronic bronchitis. I'll show you the picture of it. Chronic bronchitis, it may cause pericarditis, it may cause cancer of the lungs, mouth, larynx, that is your voice box, pharynx, which is there inside. Okay, pancreas and the urinary bladder also, etc. So you can imagine that just chewing of tobacco, or tobacco in the form of smoking of the cigarette and all, can cause so many things. That why to go and eat all these things which is unwanted for the body. Okay, you can have it for fun sometime, and then it leads to it is habitual later on. You cannot leave this type of habit, and then it can cause the cancers of different parts of your body, like chronic bronchitis, pericarditis. Okay, you can see the different types of disease here. Chronic bronchitis is nothing but inside the lungs. Inside the lungs, the trachea gets divided into two parts, and each of the part is called as a bronchi. Okay, and bronchi are nothing but the tube-like structures. So these tube-like structures finally leads into air sac or sac-like structures called as alveoli. Fine, wherein exchange of the gases takes place during the respiration. Fine. So this chronic bronchitis means what? Inside the bronchial tubes. Okay, bronchial tubes, what do you have? It has there is a formation of the cholesterol layer. Okay, there is a formation of the layer inside, which reduces the lumen of the bronchi, and therefore exchange of gases then later on becomes difficult, and therefore the person will have breathlessness, coughing, just because of this, because a person will not be able to breathe properly. Fine. So this type of disease is called as chronic bronchitis. Itis means inflammation. There is inflammation, burning sensation inside, which gives itching or coughing, dry cough all the time. That is called as chronic bronchitis. Then we have pericarditis. Carditis means what? For the heart, there is a thin membrane outside. Okay, for a heart, there is a thin membrane outside. That membrane is called as pericardium. Okay, now pericardium, which is there, which is normal in the normal heart, it is thin layer. But if the person has the habit of smoking and all, this pericardium becomes thick. Okay, and since it becomes thick, it can even contract the heart inside. so which is causing inflammation of the heart, and that disease is called as, that disorder is called as pericarditis. Then it can cause the cancer of the pharynx. The pharynx is the part which separates the esophagus and the windpipe, that is the trachea and the esophagus. So that is called as pharynx. So there also there might be cancer or formation of the cells, uncontrolled growth of the cell, okay, which can also lead in the which may have an effect on the digestion as well as respiratory process. Fine. Not only this, there are other diseases also, like it can cause the disease of the mouth. It can cause the disease of the mouth, or a cancer of the mouth, sorry, not disease, cancer of the mouth. You can see how the mouth has got affected and looks so dirty. Fine. Sometimes all this part also has to be removed. You might have seen in the ads and all wherein it is shown due to smoking all this or chewing of the tobacco, the part of the mouth has been removed and all. Why? Because otherwise the person will die very soon with the growth of the cell very fast. Okay, so see that all these dirty things you should not have. Okay, in any sense, smoking also very injurious. On the smoking cigarette packet, it is always mentioned that smoking is injurious to health. Why it is written? It's because all these things can happen. So dear students, so you have to stay away from all these dirty things. Fine. And then it can cause throat cancer, that is the it is also called a voice box. Here voice box is there, that is called as the larynx. It can cause cancer of the larynx, and therefore the person may have problem in speaking. Fine. Then it can cause lung cancer. Okay, lung cancer also it can cause, and if it causes lung cancer, then of course the person will have problem in breathing or respiration. Then it can also affect the pancreas. It can cause the cancer of the pancreas. Then it can cause the cancer of the urinary bladder, which helps in the process of excretion. Okay, so all these problems can be caused just because of smoking. So just avoid all these things. Fine. Then what else can happen? Harmful effects of the smoking are due to there is a compound in them that is called as nicotine. Okay, you might have heard about the Nicotex chewing gum, which helps in going away from this addiction. Okay, so Nicotex is the one which leads you away from the smoking. Fine. So why? Because this tobacco consists of this compound called as nicotine, which is very harmful. Okay, and it affects, what it does, it affects the central and the peripheral nervous system. That means your brain as well as the spinal cord and all the nerves which are present is being affected by the nicotine, and therefore there is trembling of the fingers and all. Fine. Then arteries become hard. Arteries carry the blood away from the heart, okay, to all the parts of the body, especially the red blood which is carried by the arteries. Okay, so arteries, when due to this, arteries also become hard, and that causes arteriosclerosis and even hypertension. Arteriosclerosis means what? There is formation of the layer inside the arteries. You can see how a layer is formed inside like this. That is called as arteriosclerosis, and because of which even it can lead to hypertension. Okay, it can lead to hypertension. Hypertension is nothing but blood pressure, high blood pressure. Blood will be pumped at very high pressure in the artery. So that is called as hypertension. So you can see that it can cause so many effects. So it can have so many effects on the body, different parts of the body. So not only a single type of a cancer, but it can lead to different number of cancers. Fine. Then Tobacco smoke contains harmful chemicals like pyridine, ammonia, aldehyde furfural, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide. See, all these chemicals which are very harmful. Not only nicotine, which affects the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system, but also it consists of the harmful chemicals like pyridine, ammonia, aldehyde furfural, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, and because of which it causes uncontrolled cell division. Okay, all these chemicals causes uncontrolled cell division, and finally it can also lead to the smoke which is due to smoking. The tobacco smoke which is due to smoking is full of minute carbon particles. Fine, because all these are like aldehyde furfural, pyridine, then carbon monoxide, all these are carbon compounds. And because these carbon compounds are there, what will happen? They will get settled into your trachea and the lungs. Fine. So since they are full of carbon particle which cause normal tissue of the lung to transform into a thickened black tissue, and therefore it causes lung cancer. Fine. And finally the person dies due to lung cancer. So there are so many different types of cancers you have learned now. This lung cancer is mostly due to smoking, because due to smoking of the tobacco, what happens? Minute carbon particles get accumulated in the lungs, and since carbon is black in color, the lung also transform into a thickened black tissue. It looks like a tar, coal tar. You must have seen coal tar, dambar, which is used for what? For the roads. And you know how chickad it is, right? How thick and viscous that liquid is. The similar way, it happens in our lungs, and because of which exchange of gases becomes very difficult, and therefore the person will have breathlessness. Okay, difficulty in breathing, and dry cough will be there, because of which sleep also will not be there, and so many different things can happen because of all these things, because all these chemicals which are very harmful are present in the tobacco. So you should be aware of all these things and never to fall into the trap of the smoking. It is only request for you, dear students, that you need to keep your body healthy all the time, because it is the temple of God. Body is like the temple of the God, and we have to preserve that temple, because once the temple has got spoiled, God will also not reside within it. Okay, so this is only my final sentence to you, final statement to you, that you need to stay away from all these things. While chewing tobacco products, much of the extract is absorbed into the body, and excessive tobacco consumption may even cause cancer of the lips or tongue. Okay, visual disorders, and even tremors. Okay, you can see the pictures, how it is so dirty it looks, right? So it is there for those people who are eating tobacco. You can see it causes the cancer of the lips, so you cannot even eat. Then it can even cause the cancer of the tongue. Fine. So you see it looks so dirty, correct? Finally, to protect one's body from cancer, one must avoid smoking and consumption of tobacco and tobacco products in any form. I hope you will remain always away from such harmful substances. Okay, this is this just I want to tell you. Fine. So thank you very much for listening patiently. Here I finish with the lesson. Fine. Till we meet again in the in the next lesson. Bye, and thank you, dear students.